Welcome, everybody, and thank you. Welcome to the Hugs Not Drugs podcast, and thank you, Harry, for that intro sketchbook with your band, You Are the Bomb. Well, that sounded so insincere. You are the bomb, Harry. You are the bomb.
Thanks, Dr. Uggs.
You just heard Linda, our special guest today. Linda is a fabulous young woman. I'm going to introduce her in a moment, but I would like to tell you what the Hugs Not Drugs podcast is. It is for motivated people in recovery to assist them with their ability to improve their recovery by listening to the podcast. We offer inspiration, education, and dare I say, fabulous humor. We have two other characters in here. I'm John Barleycorn, of course, and then we have Hugs Not Drugs, who is a spiritual entity. Say something, Hugs Not Drugs. Ah! Oh my God, he's got that? Hugs Not Drugs here. I have jokes today because I'm so happy that Linda's here. Barleycorn here, and we have, of course, the anti-Christ of the podcast, Dr. Uggs. Welcome, everybody, to a show. I'm going to try to get Linda to start drinking again. If I can do that, you're going to be very unsuccessful, I'll tell you that. The girl is on time all the time. Okay, so we're going to talk about, let me just introduce Linda, and hopefully she'll tell us what it was like yesterday, today, and tomorrow for her. But we'll talk about anything she wants to, too, because she's petting the wonder dog Jazz here. Jazz is in heaven right now. I've known Linda for decades, and she has decades of recovery, and she's helped literally probably hundreds of people in her life, sharing her experience, strength, and hope with 12-step recovery. And she always helps me when I see her. So I give you Linda. Linda, welcome to the Hugs Not Drugs podcast.
Thank you. So glad to meet that character.
You're so welcome. Thank you for not even recognizing John Barleycorn. And you're absolutely right. This is the Dr. Uggs podcast.
Well, you know how I find the bad guys always so irresistible. and that's what I go to, especially the voice, of course. So I have to explain how John Barleycorn, alias Dr. Uggs, and I met. It was at a meeting, but we'd seen each other at meetings for years. And the thing that really got me was there was a discussion going on, which often happens in meetings, of how self-centered we recovering alcoholics, addicts are. And we're all talking about how self-centered we were. And John, at the end of this discussion, just very quietly said, well, I don't know about you guys. I know I'm not much, but I'm all I think about. And he had me at that. I mean, that kind of humor is what appeals to me the most. And it's humor that has bonded us together, as well as recovery and the work that he does for people in recovery. If I had anyone who was in critical straits, I would be calling him, and I have done that often. So
it's nice of you to say. Very nice of you to say.
Well, you know, you're my go-to guy in terms of recovery. And a lot of my best friends, longest time friends, know that, and their kids know it because you've helped them too. And so, you know, there's just nothing. I mean, you're peerless in that regard, and I know you give everything you've got to recovery. So, and there's no better example. And no one you can get some laughs with like you.
God, I hate this.
So
he's so wonderful. He's so spiritual.
okay, so anyway, that's how John and I have connected over the years, and the way I too am a happy member of AA. I mean, gloriously happy, and that I want to pass the word along and share it with anybody who needs it. And we all need it, including people who don't even have drugs and alcohol problems and addictions, substance abusers, anybody who doesn't have those problems needs 12 steps in their lives. I often think my friends who've been lifelong friends and one woman, Susan Cole, was the clinical director at Rushford. She made her career of alcohol and drug prevention. And she is somebody I would also have called on for anything with help, that I know she would have given her whole self and her whole heart to. And that's the way I was raised, to do anything, even though I came from a family, 5 of us, mom, dad, brother, sister, and myself. And that entire family was plagued with the addiction, whatever it was, gene. What is it, John?
Yeah, I just want to, Barleycorn here, I just want to mention the heritage of your family. Irish and Micmac?
Yeah.
No,
not Micmac.
Not
Irish Comanche.
Comanche. What does Comanche mean? What does that mean? The
Renegade, I think.
I think it says some kind of warrior, or I had to look that up. Okay.
So yeah, well, that was my father's heritage. My mother was Irish and Scottish, English, but my mother, who was probably one of the smartest people I've ever known in my life, when she first saw me inebriated, she said, "Oh, Linda, you better never ever drink alcohol, because you're Irish and Native American, that makes you a double winner or a double loser. That makes you subject to alcoholism." And she called it right at the first time she ever saw me.
Well, when was the click that happened to you when you took a drink and you knew that this was something that you were going to keep on doing?
Oh, goodness. I didn't even allow myself. I was in such denial that was the elixir, the answer. Although I love to drink because it made me feel free of fear, was the first thing I realized.
What were you afraid of?
Everything. Everything. I was fearful of being successful. I was fearful of not being successful. Everything you could possibly imagine, I was fearful about. I was fearful of being criticized. And so there was fear everywhere in my life. I was aware of it at a very young age. And I think some of it came from my father being the larger-than-life character that he was, full of charisma, and he charmed everybody he met. And he charmed my mother even, who was one of the smartest people I ever knew. But my dad was a great factor in my development and my alcoholism, because saw him as a role model in many ways early on. Typical, wonderful attraction that there is. What is that? The Electra complex that Freud calls it. The unique relationship there is between father and daughter.
You were Daddy's little girl. Now, were you the youngest?
Eldest.
You were the eldest. Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
yes.
Yeah, so you were basically, did you take care of everybody?
Yes.
And you're still doing that,
Yes,
young lady.
Yeah. Well, I was trained to do that. Trained to help people, trained to focus on other people. Just as I was saying this morning, I never had a problem focusing on other people because I was always told that being self-centered was not acceptable. It was like being self-pitying. That was another thing that wasn't acceptable in our family.
I came into the meeting late, but I think you read probably the longest soliloquy of the 12-step book, 12 and 12, when you went through one step through 11 steps and you explained it all. And it's just so thought-provoking, that whole thing, and you did such a great job with it. And I knew exactly what was happening when I came in late, that we were doing the 12-step, and you were holding court, and people were very, very attentive about the whole thing. It's really what the program can be all about: honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, and then uncover, discover, and discarding what we need to discard to be better people.
It's an undoing. I'm always reminded that recovery is undoing more than it is doing.
You school me all the time because you say recovery is one big let go.
It is, and that came from one of my sponsees, who is still on the West Coast now, doing her thing with recovery, who started out in Al-Anon, of all things. And Al-Anon, I always used to joke about it when I meet Al-Anon people at a meeting that I went to, an AA meeting in the same church, and I'd see the Al-Anon women and I'd go, oh boy, they're roasting another alcoholic at their break.
I got a joke about Al-Anon. You want to hear it?
Yeah, go, Doc.
How do you know when an Al-Anon person slips?
I don't know the answer to that.
They feel compassion.
Oh,
I kill myself too.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's like the Al-Anon handshake is the pointed finger, shaking a pointed finger at someone. I love that Al-Anon handshake. But we can make fun of Al-Anons all day long. But at the same time, I used to recommend that that any alcoholic I was leading through the 12 steps in recovery, I would recommend that they try to work in one Al-Anon meeting a week just for a while to get the other side of the coin.
I've gone to Al-Anon. This is Hugs Not Drugs.
Oh no, what is he going to say?
Wonderful, wonderful philosophy of I'm powerless over alcohol too, even though I'm not a drinker. Sometimes people in recovery are in Al-Anon, but for the most part, there's a lot of enabling that has stopped, and there's this concept of detachment with love. Let the person do what they want to do, but you don't have to buy into it. We don't have to validate invalid behavior. So.
And the greatest thing is when people in Al-Anon recognize that they're just as sick as the alcoholic in their life or alcoholics in their life, because they've been influenced. It's a catastrophic disease.
Right.
It's a family disease.
Right on.
So.
Right on. And Al-Anon started when Lois got angry at what Bill Wilson said. Maybe this had some benefit to you that I was drunk all the time.
Yeah.
And she took off her shoe and threw it at him. And then she said, well, that was crazy. Maybe I need a 12-step program too. And she started it with another woman that was in attending to support her husband.
Yeah, I would love to have known them. I've been down to Stepping Stones in Katona, New York, and it has still stayed with me how moved I was being there.
I had the same feeling, Linda. Barleycorn here again. I had the same feeling. I felt like I was on sacred ground.
Yeah.
I went down there on my 25th anniversary. That was a while back, and Anna said, "What do you want to do today?" And I said, "I want to go down and just see Bill Wilson's where he wrote the 12 and 12, and there was a writing garret that he built, and he was clinically depressed when he did this. I mean, he took long walks and stuff, and he kept on moving in the right direction, but he was very depressed. And the 12 and 12 is basically a work of genius as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I think so too. It's my favorite of all the recovery literature, the 12 and 12. And I remember going to that bunker-like bunkhouse, it looked like, but it was more like a bunker. And it was a place with a cot, a simple bed to rest on, and this simple desk, and you could just tell that he was down to the bare bones of recovery when he wrote that. Yeah. And just the surroundings were so apropos too, because it was as though he were in a death camp or something, and he was trying to survive and also help somebody else in the process.
Fascinating human being. Lots of character defects, that's for sure. But to have the spiritual wisdom to keep on trying, no matter what.
Right.
Unbelievable. And it was just a great role model for me, because I make mistakes all the time, and I understand that it doesn't matter how many times you fall down. You got to get up one more time.
Mm-hmm. So true. I mean, that is the key to all survival, I think. That's that never give up attitude, because I learned it in my family culture was that the message from both my parents was never give up.
Oh no, they're gonna say, "Oh, we didn't quit. We surrendered. We surrendered to reality." Oh boy, I can't take this stuff anymore. Please, Linda, why don't you talk about yourself some more? Mother of God.
Oh my. Well, there are so many things. I don't know where to begin to tell you the truth. And one of my sponsees in another 12-step program, who I've enjoyed, or sponsor, she was my sponsor. She was the poet laureate of West Hartford one year, and she writes magnificent poetry, and she only started in about 2000, I think, and her name is Christine. And she's anonymous with Christine. So, but in any case, we met, and I was so impressed by her. She was a professor at Southern, I think, at the time we met, and she taught literature, and of course did the thing that I wanted to do all my life and never did. And I loved her messages always, and she was very much a proponent of the 12-step program ACA. It used to be ACA, which I did 7 years of working with her after I'd had a lot of recovery.
Which
in
is
AA.
adult children of alcoholics.
That's correct. That's that. Yeah, and dysfunctional families. So there's nobody's left out of that one. It's complete. It's hardly any exclusive club. But anyway, that was an interesting part of my recovery story in the sense that it happened, I think, after I had probably 35 years, and then did that program because it put all the pieces of the puzzle of who I am together, with all the little tiny jigsaw pieces began to fit in after doing ACA with Christine.
You also did something. Oh, I'm talking like Dr. Uggs, but you like that. So you also did a Course in Miracles.
Absolutely, yeah.
And who's the founder of that?
Well, there were two people who came up with that thought system, and they were at Columbia University. They shared offices together, and one was Bill Thetford, and the other was Helen Schuchman. And those two people were at Columbia, and they were doing the work. They were psychiatric social workers, I think. They were doing the work of counseling, and they had a whole department at Columbia for that. And they were remarking about how terrible the relationships were with the people in that particular area at Columbia. And they said, this has got to get better, or what are we doing here? And so Helen would go home at night and start writing, and she claimed to have called somebody to channel that, because she said she didn't have anything to do with it other than just kept writing. And when she brought it to Bill, her colleague at Columbia, the two of them sat down and started reading it. And he said, I'm going to transcribe this. So they did, and they put together a book called A Course in Miracles. And it's A Course in Miracles because there's no The Course in Miracles, because there are miracles everywhere all the time. And John, we witness them every day with people in the program who suddenly see the light, and they suddenly get well. Yeah. And it's like a healing, that right before your very eyes.
And no one can predict it. No one can predict it. You're absolutely right. I got a story. I don't know.
Yeah.
One of my friends, we got sober together, but he started drinking again after 4 years, and I was working in a rehab. And I finally got a vacation, and his sponsor called me up. He was working in Virginia, and this is in Maryland, where I got sober. And he said, so-and-so is drinking again. Go out and find him and get him into that rehab that you... I said, how am I going to do that? I don't even know. So I just got in the car, and I rode up and down a highway, and I saw his car. And I followed him home. He was driving in a blackout. He saw me. He came out of the blackout, and he said, oh, the crazy man's here for me. And I said, do you want help? And he said, yes. I said, get in the car. And I took him to the rehab. And it was my first day on vacation. So I came back after 2 weeks, and he was stable. He basically really worked hard to get, he was a school teacher, and he really worked hard to get back on track. And that was a miracle. Had nothing to do with that other than I was following directions, which is a miracle in itself.
Of course. There's John's humor. Yes, it is. I love the deprecating style and the dry New England wit that John has that just makes me happy. And also, it does exist in Baltimore too, because he grew up there, and I have a fondness for Baltimore because we had neighbors across the street in Bloomfield, where I was for a good part of my life, and in recovery, and the people across the street were from Baltimore. Mm-hmm. So we used to keep saying to the little kids, say the word BIRD, and they'd say birds. Birds and worms. But this little kid would say to me, birds and worms. And I'm going, what the heck is that kind of an accent? It's mid-Atlantic, I guess.
All right, this is making me very uncomfortable. I want to flip the script and talk about your California days.
Oh, gee, okay.
Because you're an East Coast girl, and then you went to California.
Well, not so surprisingly, because not many people know when they were conceived, but I do, because my father wasn't good at keeping any secrets, and he was all out there with everything, and you never had to guess what he was thinking. But every once in a while, on my birthday, he'd say to my mother, Happy New Year, dear. And my birthday's 25th of September, and they were out on New Year's Eve, and they knew exactly when I was conceived, because they both had something to drink and didn't practice their birth control, which they were doing because they didn't think they could afford a child in those days. I was born in 1939. Mm-hmm. So that was like 38, somewhere. That's when they were married. And California is not new to me from an East Coast kid. And the way that all came about was I got divorced after a 14-year marriage to a wonderful guy, and I still think the world of him. And I never remarried. I guess is testimony to that. Mm-hmm. But anyway, we were divorced in 1975, and about that time, my good friend Trina, who had decided she was going to go into aviation and be a pilot, and she was like my sister. She was rigid with her rules. Oh man, did she have rules. And I was always attracted to people like that because I was freewheeling and didn't want any rules. And I knew that nature seeks to balance, even when you're out of your mind. Mm-hmm. Nature seeks to balance. And so I was looking for somebody who was rigid, I guess, who followed the rules, because I figured that would be a good balance, being a Libran that I am, born September 25th. So Trina was going to California, and she had just broken up with a guy and decided to start anew in California, and said, why don't you come with me? You're starting anew. You and Scott are divorced, so why don't you come with me and we'll fly across the country, because I'm going to be a race pilot, and I'm going to win the Powder Puff Derby, which is the all-women's transcontinental air race.
Oh, my.
Started by Amelia Earhart. One time I was telling this story up at St. Albans. This is an aside that just struck me so funny. I was telling this story about Amelia Earhart, and they said, oh, you knew her, huh? These kids, these smart little wise-ass kids were saying that to me, and I couldn't help but be hysterical because, I was like Amelia to them. Anyway, so was Trina. Anyway, Trina and I took off for after my dad had died, and we went to California, and that was 75. And so we flew a single engine Piper 180 Cherokee, and both of us flew because although I wasn't licensed, she was also an instructor. She wouldn't have taught me if she weren't an instructor. You know, that she never did anything that wasn't by the book, including her logbook was pristine. I mean, it was honest.
Sure.
There are a lot of people that lie in their logbook.
Sure.
She didn't, and I can testify to that. But anyway, we flew across the country, settled in California, and off to our new lives. And it turned out the outcome of her hard work and discipline and living and doing everything by the book was, and it was a role model for me because I saw that she achieved her goals, and she won the two all women's transcontinental last races that were ever flown, because she the last race was 76, and by that time men were trying to wheedle their way into flying in that race because it was all women, and they said that was exclusive and that they should be allowed to fly in it too.
God forbid that men don't get their rights.
I know. It was true, but God forbid they run up against women like this, because that they called it the Powder Puff Derby, and I still say there was not one powder puff in that gang. Let me tell you, they had, and so many of them, you know, they couldn't join the military, so they couldn't build their hours like men did. All the pilots that are men have gotten most of their hours in the military. Women had to do it on their own, and it's expensive.
Yeah, and she was a barnstormer too, wasn't
she? Yeah. She did a lot of things, but she achieved her goal, which was to win those two races. And when the men tried to get into the race, the women said, we're not going to run this race anymore. It's done.
Yeah.
We're done. And that catapulted Trina into the Smithsonian, because she won the last two that were ever run.
Sure.
And so she made, and she achieved her goal, which was, I think most of all, it was to pay back her dad in pride. You know, what she couldn't pay him back in the money that he had invested in her actually getting all the certifications she needed to fly the way she wanted.
There's 3 stages of alcoholism: early, middle, and late stages. Where do you think you were at the end of your drinking?
I think I was at the end. I mean,
are you comfortable talking about that last drunk? Because I think it's hysterical.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. If you think it's funny, it's so. The last drunk, I was wandering in the desert, literally. I was living in El Toro, California, in the desert, next to the lower Santa Anas.
How were you clothed?
Oh, naked. Naked with a, oh yes, that's right. I've forgotten that. Naked with, I had my liter and a half of Sebastiani Mountain Vin Rosé in a jug over my shoulder. And I was out wandering in the desert, getting caught up by the cacti that I was stumbling into. And that was, I guess that was when I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and just decided this is the last time I ever want to do this again.
Who spotted you that you could
Nobody
could be saved. I mean,
Nobody was there. Nobody was there. I wandered back to my condo, and this was in El Toro, as I said, Toro, which was fairly civilized at that time. And there's a famous Marine air base right there, that probably attracted me to the area, and because I was home with all these pilots and stuff, so the thing is that was the turning point when I had enough of just as I love to hear Marty say, running and gunning. I had enough of.
You were running and gunning, but you were picked up by the police that night, weren't you?
Not that night. No. Actually, the night I was picked up by the police that you're referring to, I'm sure, was that Trina was. I was going to the airport. We lived in Irvine, California, and it's Southern California, where the University of Irvine, California is, and she was coming into the airport, John Wayne Airport, and I was going to pick her up. Been drinking all day, and then I was on my way to the airport racing, of course, and the CHP pulled me over, and I felt like, oh, this is a setup, because already
you were racing in your car.
Yes, racing.
Who were you racing?
Everybody else on the freeway.
Oh, jeez.
And going to the airport.
This is poor judgment extraordinaire.
Oh, yeah.
Were you clothed?
I was clothed.
Thank
that
God.
Time.
Okay.
That time. Thank
I've got
God
this
is
story.
right.
I got this story all mixed up.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, in any case, I was going to the airport to pick up Trina, and when Officer Kreiner stopped me, the CHP is the California Highway Patrol. If everybody says, what does that mean? They call them the chippies. But
yeah, chips.
And I have trouble with authority figures. Oh, yeah. And especially police, enforcers. So I see this.
I want to mention that you're 5'0", okay?
Yeah,
All
I
right.
know.
And ferocious at that.
Yeah, vicious. Vicious. So this guy, he does his whole thing of giving me the field sobriety test. And so he puts cuffs on me and throws me in. He departs from procedure and throws me into the front seat of his vehicle. So
bad judgment on his part.
Yeah, I'm watching him, and already he's got a tow truck towing my car away. And I see that, and I'm trying to get his attention, so I reach up and I kick out his windshield, and it got his attention. I keep saying, CHP hate that. They hate when you do that. And so...
And you figured it was his own damn fault.
Well, yeah.
Oh, my God.
He was lying in wait for me to exceed the speed limit between my house and John Wayne Airport.
Do you see the error of your way at this point? You were drinking, you were racing everybody on the highway. Do you see any responsibility that you need to take on this?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Good.
Oh, I do now. Of course I do now.
Praise the Lord.
But not then. And you should have seen the judge laughing when he saw me. I was dressed in my blue suit, my three-piece blue suit and white shirt in court.
Very respectable.
Very respectable. Looking like, I looked like I was probably an airline
pilot?
Well, yeah. I mean, I looked like I was in a uniform.
Yeah.
So the judge, when he saw me and heard what I did, and he started laughing, and he said, well, we're going to have to charge you for that windshield, $150 for that windshield, and then you're going to have to do some community service. So they were really easy on me because that was my first arrest.
The first arrest?
Yeah.
You had many more?
Yes.
Okay.
By the CHP.
Okay. Now,
they were waiting for
so
me.
they had your number.
They did.
And you kept on, like, defying them anyway. Now, the young ladies that you were in jail with, tell us about that.
Oh, well, it was late. It was not so late. It wasn't. But they must have just done a run, the cops must have just done a run to Disneyland and picked up all the working girls, all the hookers from Disneyland. So they
And your first
threw
arrest,
me in
they
jail with
mentored
all
you.
of them. And I'm crying in my 3-piece blue suit. I'm crying. And they're saying to me, they're all duded up for the night, to pick up whatever, some clients. And they're saying, they're schooling me on not to cry, because that's what those police want to do. They want to see you cry. So don't cry and be tough, and they're taking me through the hooker school of hard knocks. And I loved them. I loved all those women right away. Anyway, that was so long ago and far away, 41 years ago.
Well, yeah, I want to just mention that you are such a wonderful woman that when you tell that story, it shocks the bejesus out of everyone in the room because they don't see you that way.
I know.
They don't see you that way at all. And we've been running for over 40 minutes. I don't want to go too much longer. If you want to, we will. But is there anything that you want to do to wrap this baby up, or do you want to keep on talking? It's up to you.
Oh, gosh. Well, that's the worst thing anybody can ever say to me is we better stop talking, because
we have a timer on you and it doesn't work.
That sounds like an order.
No, it's up to you. It's up to you.
I know. Well, I think enough is enough for now. I mean, the whole thing is that I'm so obviously inexperienced doing any kind of broadcast that
you and me both.
Yeah.
Well, then
fun.
This is an open invitation to come back anytime you want. John, I've got something to say, and it'll be done.
Uh-huh.
It'll be done.
Okay. Well, the next time Richard cuts me off at a meeting.
Oh, geez, stop.
I'll let you know.
Oh, God.
So anyhow, 40 minutes is enough of this kind of banter. Believe it. Yeah, I could, if we haven't put them all to sleep. But as you said, the upside of that is they'll feel rested when it's over. Okay.
All right. I'm trying to sell the podcast so I can pay for some of this stuff. And so we have Dr. Uggs do it. That's the only reason that we have him around.
That's not true. You can't get rid of me because Hugs Not Drugs said it best. Say it, Hugs Not Drugs.
Yes, we cannot kill Dr. Uggs. We can only educate him. Okay. So he's part of us. All right. So go for it, Dr. Uggs.
All right, here's the commercial. The Hugs Not Drugs podcast is sponsored by John Forlenza-Bailey, a prince, by the way, who wrote 2 books, and you can get them on Amazon. You can get this book, The Transformation of Dr. Uggs, on Reading Glass Books. Google it and look it up. The Transformation of Dr. Uggs is an original story that explains the progression of the disease of chemical dependency. It's not intended to be a story about blaming others for the acquisition of an illness. This story is intended to explain, not to blame. It is a story of discovery, insight, acceptance, and finally the right choices to live drug-free in a chemically dependent world. And he wrote a book about 7 or 8 years ago that he uses for treatment. It's called the Road to Wellness Workbook. And that book is designed to provide education, emotional support, and inspiration to persons suffering from addiction. It offers step-by-step lessons to people striving to
their lives around and regarding abstinence, relapse prevention, family dynamics, and self-assessment to continue to discover day-by-day recovery. Recovery's up to you, by the way. Mentors help. Journals help. You must exchange and surrender destructive behaviors for constructive ways of handling day-to-day stressors or triggers of life. No one deserves to continue to suffer from the active addiction. Get better, do the work. So it looks like I'm not going to get Linda to have a few with me today. That's too bad. She has had Jazz the Wonder Dog the entire time. Jazz just jumped up for more pets, and she's got her head on the pillow. And Linda loves all animals, even the ones that she sees in early recovery. So
some of the ones I've slept with.
Okay, this is getting really, really dicey now. I'd love to interview you. Let me interrupt, okay? John Barleycorn here. You've made, I'm looking over at Hugs Not Drugs. His face is blood red with embarrassment. Okay. All right, so we will say thank you very much, and you're welcome to come back anytime you want. And I hope you do. I hope you do. And so this is, we're going to end now. I'm just going to say peace and love to everybody, brothers and sisters. And Harry is going to do an outro with the end of the music from Sketchbook with his band. And peace out to everybody. And thank you again, Linda.
Oh, thank you for having me, John. This has been a treat just to spend time with you.
All right, and you're going to tell, you got no payment for this, except I'm going to give you one of John Forlenza-Bailey's books, or both of them. Well, you already have one.
I already have one.
But I'll give you the Transformation of Dr. Uggs when they start delivering it to me. And
the gift is being with you.
And, well, we're going to watch Steve Martin, your favorite comedian.
Yes.
It was a documentary, so we're going to do that.
The modern day Renaissance man.
There it is. There it is. So we will do that after the show. So take it away, Harry. Love you.